Coming up next, one of the loveliest couples of the rock era. They sang in a legendary band together, and they had a run of hits in the 60s and 70s that really put them in a league of their own. They tell the story of a beautiful Jimmy Webb pen song that they recorded and took to the top 10. It also swept the Grammys that year, won both Song and Record of the Year, and it's one of the 50 most listened to songs of the 20th century. The interesting story is next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you have more than a passing interest in great music, you're going to dig this channel. Subscribe below right now to be a part of our community, and make sure to click the bell so that you never miss out on the stories of the classics straight from the legends. And take a look at our offering on Patreon. And also, we got merch. All these things help us to keep the music alive when we give you exclusives. In the middle of the summer of love, July of 67 to be exact, a group hit the top 10 after their first few singles had failed. The Fifth Dimension broke out with a song that was written by the great Jimmy Webb. It was played by the Wrecking Crew, including guitarist Al Casey, trumpeter Tony Turan, and drummer Hal Blaine. The song Up, Up, and Away was an instant classic and a perfect example of the genre sunshine pop. It would be the bridge that would lead to the Fifth Dimension's life-changing song Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In. That happened in 1969, another #1 hit.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
The story of how the Fifth Dimension brought Jimmy Webb's Up, Up, and Away to life, with Johnny Rivers co-producing and with the Wrecking Crew playing, it's very interesting, and it shook an already luxurious decade up even more. The Fifth Dimension, they cleaned up at the Grammy Awards in 1968. It was one of the biggest winners ever, Up, Up, and Away. It took home Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals, Best Performance by a Vocal Group, Best Performance by a Chorus, and Best Contemporary Song. 6 Grammys. Now, I was fortunate to interview former Fifth Dimension stars Billy Davis Jr. and Marilyn McCoo. They've been married for over 50 years, and two of the most down-to-earth, humble legends that I've ever interviewed. They're awesome. This is one of those stories that just bursts with nostalgia, painting a vivid picture of the times long since past. It includes Johnny Rivers as well. You're going to want to see it. Now, as we go into this interview, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. When you get your eyewear at Zenni Optical, you can say goodbye to foggy lenses and glare with Zenni's advanced 2-in-1 anti-fog and anti-reflective coating. This is really great to have, especially during the winter. So check it out at Zenni.com today. Here's Billy Davis Jr. and Marilyn McCoo.
Up and away, my beautiful.
Up, Up, and Away. I want to talk about that song because it's the 43rd most played song in the history of this world. On radio.
Of the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the most played song. BMI listed the most played songs of the 20th century.
Wow.
And they update it every year. And it's in the 40s.
Can I tell you a story about that?
Yeah.
So here we are working with Jimmy Webb on our first album, and we're listening to all these songs and loving them and having a good time. And Jimmy's giving us some wonderful ideas about some harmonies and things like that. And one day, Jimmy's sitting at the piano and he says, I want to play something for you. You know, he's from Oklahoma.
He's an Oklahoma boy.
I want to play this song for you. And he plays Up, Up, and Away. He said, this is a song that I wrote. He said, I was in the desert in Palm Springs and there was a hot air balloon festival going on. And I wrote this song. He said, I think it's going to end up being in a Broadway musical. And he played the song for us. And we loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it.
It was a beautiful song.
Yeah, it was such a feel-good song.
Yeah.
And
we told him, say, Jimmy, said that song is great. Say, but it'll never be a hit. It's too pretty. Yeah. It's just,
but we knew we wanted it on our album.
Do it.
We said, we want that song on our album because it's such a feel-good song, even if it isn't a hit,
Yeah. Well, I know why it was a hit is because everybody, no matter what age, it really hits you. It's got that wonder, and it, like you said, it's very pretty. But I remember that being one of the first songs I heard as a little kid. My parents would play it, And it's just one that you can all appreciate, you know?
That's
'Cause
right.
there's some
Yeah.
songs that come out and it's just for one little segment of people, you know? But this one, it's just this universal theme. And the goodness that you feel, and there's a great spirituality to that song.
Yeah,
It just makes you feel good.
It reminded, as a matter of fact, I'm blanking on the Pharrell Williams song that was so
Happy.
huge.
Happy.
Clap along if you feel like a room with.
That was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
All over the
Same
world.
thing.
Yes.
Same thing with Up
And
and
I
Away.
started telling
Yeah.
some younger people, I said, as big as Happy is, and how it makes everybody feel so good, that's what Up and Away was.
Definitely.
You could be on the freeway, bumper to bumper, and would you like to ride
That's right.
in my beautiful balloon?
You could be frustrated.
And would
you
just
know?
lift people out of wherever they were and make them feel good.
Sunshine Pop. It's just
Yeah,
really. But third single from the record, actually. It went to number 7 on the pop charts. It went to the AC charts. It also was number 1 in Australia. I mean, to show the impact, it was
Wow.
number 1 outside of the United States. And it's also got that Burt Bacharach style production, you know, and it's full of those brassy horns and that pounding tambourine percussion and even the tropical guitar sounding, you know,
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
I love
Yeah,
that.
right.
Yes.
Right.
But there is always something there to
And it was a great escape from the news of the day. That was what was so important about that song because
Yes.
we talked about the 60s
Yeah,
and the impact,
right.
Vietnam War.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It brought you up. It inspired you.
Yes.
And times, you know, 60s, late 60s were a tough time.
They were.
I mean, I wasn't there, but you know, just
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
it.
Just
it
reading
was.
about it,
Yeah,
or just,
yeah.
or just all of the coverage, you know, that
Yeah.
they've been doing on television
The
about
world
those-
was in
those years.
turmoil.
Exactly.
And that
right,
music
yeah.
is what brought everybody together, and that was one of those songs. But it had a sophisticated feel to it too. Again, launched Jimmy's career, and 5 cuts. You guys had 5 Jimmy cuts on the first album.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. You're
That's
right.
right.
You're right.
Yes.
So tell me about the feeling when that song came out, when it was first released.
Oh,
When it
yeah.
was a
It was
single.
that's one of the songs we ran to the disc jockeys on. Can you play that song? You know? Yeah, because it was, we had a feeling that song would be the song once it got out there. And we saw the response that was happening with it. We said, then this song could really, really make our careers. And it did. Yeah.
You know, you're talking about the competition. Johnny Mann, the
Yes,
Johnny Mann
right.
singers,
Yep.
came out with the first version of Up and Away. Because the record company had said, well, they were trying to go with a follow-up to Go Where You Want to Go.
Yeah.
And so we ended up coming out with this record called Another Day, Another Heartache. And Another Day, Another Heartache, it started moving up the charts, and then it started slowing down, and then it stalled at about in the 40s or the 50s. In the meantime, Johnny Mann had gone to the record company and had asked if we were going to release it as a single, and when they said no, he went into the studio and recorded it with the Johnny Mann singers, and they put it out right away. So it started moving slowly up the charts, but it was moving and moving up. And Another Day, Another Heartache was moving down.
Yeah.
So the record
right.
company said, hey, we're missing out on a hit here. The
Right.
Fifth Dimensions version is better. It's more contemporary. It's more young feeling. And they put ours out on top
On top of theirs.
on top of the Johnny
Yeah.
Mann Singers version. And so now we started the battle going up the charts.
Up and away, my beautiful.
Wow.
Fortunately, the Fifth Dimensions version ended up
Yeah.
continuing on.
I heard that actually initially some radio stations wouldn't play because they thought it was about drugs because of a hot air balloon. I don't know if that's true, but I just read that somewhere as a
thought
kid.
no, but listen, we worked in, who was it? President Nixon? And they asked us to come to the White House and do a performance. And then, first of all, we told them what songs we were going to sing.
Yeah.
And Up and Away was one of them. And first of all, they wanted to go through all the lyrics because they thought that it was something that about these balloons it had to be drugs. You know, right? Because
Right.
I know you musicians, y'all always talk about drugs. You know,
Well, at that
Yeah.
time, people were selling drugs in
balloons. Yeah,
That's the way they sold
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
you know.
Right.
So they thought there was a hidden meaning.
Yeah.
And we had to convince them it's a hot air
balloon. It
Yeah.
was very innocent. That's what it was.
Well, when you recorded it, what can you tell me about that? Because, of course, the Wrecking Crew, Hal Blaine, such a great production of it. And tell me about that, what you remember.
Well, we remember that when we were in the studio and the guys would come in and they started working on the music. And it was just so interesting to watch them come in and listen to the demo. And let's see now, on Up, Up and Away, that was Johnny Rivers and Mark Gordon were the co-producers.
So I called Mark. I said, Mark, I want to meet this guy. So anyhow, he got me together with Jimmy. Jimmy came up and started playing me all these different songs. And I had just started working with the Fifth Dimension. I had cut a song with them called Go Where You Want to Go, a John Phillips song. And we got it on the charts. So then Jimmy plays me this song. He said he wrote it for a Broadway play about balloons because he had knew the Picard family and
Up, Up and Away.
Up, Up and Away. And I went, well, it's kind of Broadway and poppy, but so we played it for the Fifth Dimension and they liked it. They said, oh yeah, we love that. We could cut that song. So we did. And I remember Jimmy had written this chart and I had all these jazz chords and stuff. And we were at Sound Recorders doing that. And I saw Tommy Tedesco going down the hall. And I'm in there trying to read and play the rhythm guitar on the track. And I couldn't get these chord changes, and then I can't play this song. I said, it's too intricate for me. So hold on, I'll be right back. So I go and I get Tommy Tedesco. I said, Tommy, come on in here. The chart's up there right in front of you. My guitar's all set up. Just play my guitar. So Tommy sat down and wham, just knocked it right off, playing the rhythm, my guitar on Up, Up and Away on the track. And it was Hal Blaine and Joe Osborne and Larry Knechtel played on it as well. So that's how that track came about. So then we wound up working on that album together, me and Jimmy.
Well, you're never going to believe this, but our next interview is with Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo.
Oh, they're great. I just saw them actually. We did a tribute to Jimmy Webb at Carnegie Hall, and they were there. They did Up, Up and Away, and The Worst That Could Happen. And we hung out together backstage. It was so good seeing. And they sound so good. They're still so talented.
So they were sharing thoughts and ideas and how to approach it, but the musicians, they would come in and they had their own energy and their own artistry. And they'd start playing and they would just come together.
But you know,
That's
what
interesting.
they have with these chord charts.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they wanted them to have. And then they would play the demo, and then they say, okay, let's try it. And these guys, Hal Blaine and Larry Knechtel, Joe Osborne, on bass. I mean, these guys would just sit there and create the feel of the song with their own feeling. And that all that gelled together, and then we put ours on top of it. It's a mixture.
Recording that vocal too, that was probably an incredible day. 'Cause it's such a just beautiful vocal.
I go back to so many pictures of Bones Howe, who ultimately became our producer and produced most of our hits. All of our hits except Up, Up and Away. The Wrecking Crew would come together, and Bones would be there in the studio with them quite often, and he would start telling them what ideas he had in mind for the feel or for a direction, and they would listen, and then they would start working on it, and then it would just come together. It was always an exciting thing to see.
Yeah. And they were on so many great records, Good Vibrations and the Beach Boys and Sinatra. And what was so great about the song is you know that you've got a great song when everybody starts recording it after your version comes out.
Yes.
Have you heard Bing Crosby's version? I mean, Bing Crosby's done it, the Supremes, Dionne Warwick, I mean, Nancy Sinatra, Andy Williams.
Yeah.
Way up in the air.
In my beautiful balloon, if you'll hold
Up and away, my beautiful, my
pretty balloon, my balloon.
These aren't pushovers here.
One of the interesting things about that song is that a lot of people, when they hear it it sounds like it's an easy song. And it's not easy.
No.
And so many people tried to attempt to sing it and to follow it. It's well, how do you get from here to there? You know, say, hey, this Jimmy Webb. You know,
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Even a couple of years ago, it was a band called Prodigy, who's a harder edge band. They recorded it as well. You know?
Really?
Pop culture, too, it's been used so much. And it was first used in a 1968 episode of Petticoat Junction.
Up and away, my beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then sung by Bob on Sesame Street.
For we can fly.
And then the Trans World jingles. I don't know if you
Oh,
ever
yes,
saw that.
yes.
The Trans
Oh,
World
yes,
Airline.
sure.
And then, of course, Tom Cruise, Born on the 4th of July. Bob's Burgers,
Yeah,
which is a
right,
big
right,
thing
right.
now.
For we can fly.
But yeah, I mean, just a massive song.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts on Up, Up, and Away? What does it mean to you now, so many years later?
We still love hearing it. We
We
don't
still-
get tired
yeah,
of it.
not
We don't
only
get tired
that,
of singing it.
We've been still singing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we still enjoy it.
And your kids and their kids and their,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
My kids love that song. And
Yeah.
again, like I said, it touches every generation.
It
but
really
it's not
does.
just a young person's song, it's for everybody.
One of the great things about it is when we started to sing it, it's what you get the feedback from the audience.
Yes.
They start going, and it makes you want to give more, you know.
Yeah.
It's a give and take. It's really
That
beautiful.
energy is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might recall that Billy Davis Jr. and Marilyn McCoo had a #1 hit in the 70s together, a solo. You don't have to be a star to be in my show. And Marilyn was the host of Solid Gold in the 80s. Isn't that amazing? Tell us what you think about this classic from '67, your memories, your experience with this song. If you like this video, we do invite you to be a full-time part of our community by subscribing below. We do invite you to be a part of our Patreon and get more content there. And again, winter is coming. Great time to pick up a hoodie to let people know that you're all about keeping the music alive. We appreciate it. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Talk to you soon.